Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us at OnPoint Mentors here. We have a very special treat for you today, Dr. Dave Tuck. First of all, if you haven't heard about OnPoint Mentors, if you are looking for a mentor anywhere in the world, we've got mentors located in South Africa, in Hong Kong, all over the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. So check us out if you're looking for a mentor to speak with. If you are a mentor and looking to get your practice up and running as quickly as possible, also check us out. We make it easy for you so you can start doing what you love, and that's coaching and helping others. So today, our topic is keys to mindset and manifestation mastery. We have Dave Tuck, who is a mindset and manifestation specialist. He's a doctor of chiropractic, a teacher, and an explorer. So welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Celia. It's wonderful to be here. Nice connecting with you again.
You too. I was so excited when I was like, oh, I've got Dave today. You know, like I said, I've had a challenging week, and I just love your voice and your advice and your wisdom that you always share. And it's just so soothing and calming. So thank you for being with me. I guess the universe placed you here this week with me. So thank you.
Perfect timing, yes. Perfect timing for all of us, yes.
Absolutely. So, first of all, when you gave me the topic, keys to mindset and manifestation mastery, I know it's a huge topic, lots to talk about, but what do you mean by mindset and manifestation? So we're going to go into those, what does that mean for you and how do you bring it to life?
Yeah, great question. So I chose this title because when I look back on my life over the last 51 years, one of the things I think I've learned over that time is how important it is your mindset in regards to how your life turns out. Your mindset, your beliefs, your thoughts, and your intention, and all that goes together, and that's what creates your reality. So everyone's always manifesting at all times based on their own attitudes about life, and so this is about learning to be more conscious of it and taking charge of your mindset so you can consciously create something, as opposed to life is coming at you instead of you taking charge and creating your life. So learning to shift your mindset from where you are to where you love to be, that's the first step in shifting and manifesting.
Right, but it isn't always so easy. I mean, people make it sound so easy, but I know you've got a whole system and a framework, and you do workshops and retreats. So I'm curious to hear about your system and your approach to how do you help people with their mindset.
Yeah. So first of all, it's about finding out where you are today. Everyone is at their starting point. No matter where you are, what you're doing, and what you've created today has been a result of your mindset in the past, what your beliefs are, what you've thought about, what you set your intention on. And so if you want to create a new outcome, then obviously you've got to create a new mindset and a shift in trajectory. And then that will begin the process of creating a new outcome for your life. And as you get more clear about what you truly want and go through these steps that I'm going to share with you, then it becomes a lot of fun actually to consciously and creatively manifest the things you want in your life. And if you start seeing things showing up that you have decided you would love to have, then it's more fun in life, I think, when you can be creative and collective manifesting. So.
Right. No, it's almost like magic, right? It's like, and this is why I want to hear your tips and your tricks and your tools and your methods, because I've seen it happen with you and your lovely, beautiful wife, Tanya, and what life you've been able to create and manifest for yourselves.
Yeah. And I think that we've all done that before. We've had experiences where we think of something, wow, I'd love to have a piece of pie. And then all of a sudden someone walks up and says, hey, you want a piece of pie? Or, you think about a person, all of a sudden they call you. And this happens to everyone. And so that energy and that capability is accessible consciously. If we just learn how to shift our mindset and tap into that energy and set our intention, then it happens.
So Okay, so you said you have several keys you wanted to talk about?
Well, I put down there's three keys that I've used over the years with my own personal life and with clients to help them shift. And usually when I'm working with someone, they're feeling kind of stuck in a position, or they don't know where to go, or they're kind of lost, or they've created a life for themselves, but now they feel like they don't recognize who they are in any longer, and or maybe they've been doing the same thing for years and they're ready to transition to something else, but just not clear on what that is. And so the first step is getting just clear about who you are. So these keys are kind of based around the Delphic oracles, which is knowing yourself, being yourself, and loving yourself. Okay, and so the first one is around knowing yourself, and that's around what are your values, and what makes you tick, and what are your priorities, what's important to you, and what do you love thinking about. I think that people skip over this step sometimes when they're living their life, as they're forgetting about who am I and what do I truly want in my life. So anytime you're feeling stuck or you're in a transition, one of the very first things to do is let's come back home again and let's tap into who we are, because sometimes we forget, we get lost in life, and things get busy and you forget about who are you and what do you really want. And so I think that's one of the first keys, is getting to know yourself on an intimate level again, or maybe it is for the first time. I know that I never asked this question about who I was and what I want till I was 30 years old, and someone prompted me to think about these questions, and it changed my life. Because once you start asking these quality questions for yourself, which is who am I, and the next is what am I here to do? What would I love to do in my life now? And if you've never taken time to stop and reflect on that and really truly answer that question, it's a very powerful exercise to do. So I think that's one of the first keys to learning how to shift mindset and to manifest, is to get familiar with who you are again. Aristotle says, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And so I love that quote. It's actually one of the quotes, and I'm writing a book at the moment. I think I might have shared with you, which is 101 inspired quotes for success, health, and wealth. And this is quote number 5 in that book. So I love building around that aspect, which is step 1 is who are you? What do you want for your life?
When's that book coming out?
Well, I'm on quote 53 at the moment. So
okay, and you're doing 100?
101.
101. I'm gonna push you to get that done, because I think all of our listeners would love to have that book.
Yeah, I know. It's something that's inspiring to me, because I know it seems like the majority of my life I've always been attracted to sayings and certain quotes that have meanings and you can take wisdom from. And I love those little things you can give to people and take home. And I think it's just can be a powerful thing when you hear a quote and a saying from someone. I've always wrote that down over the years, and I realized I had a huge stack of hundreds of these things that over the years I've drawn to and I've read over the years that meant something to me. So now I'm putting those in a form where I can share that with others, because I think it's some powerful things.
Nice. So the first key, knowing yourself. Back in my 20s, people used to ask me, what would you love to do? Because in your 20s, just graduating, trying to figure it out. I wasn't a veterinarian back then. I had a business degree and I was working in real estate development, but my soul wasn't satisfied, right?
Yeah.
And so, people ask me, what would you love to do? That's not as easy of a question to answer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that stumps a lot of people and it frightens them. And actually, I was talking to a neighbor of mine, and they said, "Yeah, what's our purpose?" And we heard that somebody said, "Just go 1, 2, 3. What's your purpose?" and I thought, "Oh, okay." So, how do you get people to really focus and answer that question without freezing and having their mind just scatter?
It's about asking quality questions, because I think that we're all the time living our values and we're living our priorities, and we actually are all living our purpose. We just may not be aware of it, because there's no mistakes and nothing's missing. We're all in the perfect space. It's just that we may have a perception that we're lost, or a perception that something's wrong. And so the first thing I like to do is ask quality questions to the person, which is, who are you, and what do you love thinking about, and what do you set your goals toward, and what do you love talking about, and and when you ask these quality questions of people, that's an identifier about what's important to you, what are your values, and what makes you tick as a person. And so that's kind of the groundwork for then deciding, well, now that you know who you are, how do you want your life to turn out? Because you can do anything you want. You can create the life you desire. You just got to get clear on what that looks like for you. I know so many people I work with, they've they weren't real clear on who they are, but yet they've created relationships in their life, and they've created a business in their life, and they're creating financial situation, they're creating their health and well-being, but they're not real clear on who they are. And at some point, you may wake up and go, and you look around going, whose life is this? Who am I? And that's kind of what happened to me in my 30s. I was like, I created this, I was living what I thought I should be doing, and what I was supposed to be doing. When you get married and you have kids and you have a job and you go to church and you do everything that you're supposed to do, and you should be a happy person. Which is what I was taught growing up, right? I think a lot of people are in that boat. You subordinate to others and you do what you think you should be doing. And so once I got clear on that, and I was asked these questions, it's life changing. Because then once you know the answers to the question, who you are and why you're here, you can't go back. You can't unknow that, and you can't start going back and pretending to live the life that you're not inspired about. And so first step is let's get clear on who you are, what you want, and then let's decide, what's my ideal relationships I'd love to create? What's the ideal career that fits into that? How do I want to look and feel throughout my life, knowing that I'm going to be here to do this one thing in life, and I'm clear on my purpose? So I have a process I take people through to help them get more clear on that.
You're right. It starts with you and understanding who you are. And, you mentioned should, and a lot of people always say that word should and how we should take it away from our vocabulary. But where does the should come from? Where does that thinking come from?
Listen, the shoulds and the ought tos and the got to and the have tos are a language that we use when we're not really living inspired or living according to our values, and we might be subordinating. But however, it's a beautiful feedback for us, because if you're finding yourself in the shoulds, have to, and got tos, that's just a feedback to maybe wake you up, to maybe get more clear about who you are, so you can move into the love tos and desires tos and chooses to in your life, which is more inspiring state. Right. As I've been a chiropractor for 27 years now, and I will say that as people come into clinic, the people that had the most health issues, they felt the worst, they had the most injuries, they were sick the most, are the people that are living in those got tos and have tos every day. Going to work they don't really inspired about, having relationships they're not inspired about, not feeling good about themselves physically or mentally. They tend to attract major feedbacks in the other areas of your life to help wake you up, to get clear on who you are. So the feedback of challenge and chaos and confusion is actually super important for us to help wake us up. So it's not something to learn from, it's something to embrace and go find out how to shift that.
So, a question I get asked a lot, and, when people say, well, I should be looking after my family, it's my role as a father or a role as a mother, or, I should be, trying to buy a house or get a house that fits my family. So where are those when it's not quite their life, or it is a part of their life, but they keep using the should? How do you change that or switch their perception? Or
I think it's about, again, getting more clear about who you are, what's your priorities, what are your specific values, and asking yourself, is what I'm saying I want in my life, is that me talking, or is that an authority figure talking? Is that society? Am I trying to live up to society's values, or my parents' values, or someone else's values instead of my own? And that's typically what's underlying those got tos and shoulds, is a subordination of self to others, which is a disempowered state. Right. And so when you're living in that disempowered state, there's going to be a matter of time where you're going to start getting feedback from your physiology. You're going to get feedback from your relationships, from your career, and from your finances. That's going to be waking you up, helping try to wake you up to getting more clear about who you are. So it's all about coming back to yourself. Sure, let's talk about key number 2. Like we said in the quote earlier, it's about, now that you know yourself, okay, and you're more clear about who you are and what you want to do in your life, key two now is stepping into being that person, committing, which is that C word that I think a lot of people will get afraid of, is about commitment.
Right.
But the number one commitment to making your life is your commitment with yourself. Because if you can't commit to you, then how can you think you can commit to another person or a career or being healthy and well when you can't commit to living your true self, living your true expression? Because when you're not living true to you and you're not committed to that, you're going to continue to fight feedback and those ebbs and flows and roller coaster of life that feels out of control. And so the second part, again, is commitment to who you are, commitment to speaking your truth to yourself, speaking your truth to your loved ones, speaking your truth to people in your life. And what you'll notice is this, and you may have noticed this in your life. I know I've noticed it in my life. Whether I'm living true to myself and speaking my truth, half the people like that and half the people may not like that. So either way, you're not going to please everyone. I think that one of the biggest challenges with people who try to please everyone is they end up not pleasing their own self. And so that has long-term detriment way over someone who's not happy with you for living your own true self. Because, life is dynamic. And if you think about your life, people have come and gone through your life and my life forever, right? And there's been one constant. You know what that is? Myself. And so if I can learn to commit to being true to me, speaking my truth, living according to my values, and and trying to understand others' values and respecting them for theirs, let everyone be who they are, then to me that's a key to shifting mindset and manifesting what you desire consciously. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's interesting because where does that come from? That you feel like everyone has to like you or love you or like the work that you do, and where does that come from?
Well, what I find is people who have that sort of, and it's an addictive thing to try to please people. You get caught up in that. To me, when we look back on that, there's going to be some past maybe shame or some guilt around some experiences in life, and it varies from person to person because everyone's so unique. But once you knock those out and you clear baggage from the past, any guilt, shame, regret, anything like that, then it gives you more confidence to feel like standing up and just being yourself. And plus, I think you got to realize that there's some benefits for people. One of the questions I ask my clients is, what are the benefits to others that you just speak your truth, and how does it serve them that they may not like that very much? How does that actually teach them? So people worry that, oh gosh, if I do this, it's going to upset this person and I'm going to cause more harm than good or create more negative than positive. But you can't do that. It's impossible. You're always going to have a balance of positive, negative, and supports and challenge and ups and downs and ebbs and flows in life. So you might as well just be yourself, speak your truth, because that's when you reach your full potential, and your full wellness potential is when you're being yourself. And so I think it's a big challenge for people. This step number 2 is probably the one that people get stuck on, because it's about learning to trust that if you just speak your truth and you just live authentically, follow your inspired mission and vision, that everything will work out around that. People will come, people will go. Some will join the bus, some will get off the bus. But you can't not go on your path because you're worried that someone's not going to like that, because you can't avoid that. It's impossible to avoid that. You can't please everyone. And so when you learn that aspect and learn how to just be yourself, please yourself, and knowing that some will support you, some will not, and be okay with that, that takes away that anxiety and that fear and that block that keeps you from moving forward.
I don't know if we want to talk about it now when we're talking about the key number 2, but I know you really enjoy working with healthcare practitioners, particularly chiropractors. And, I think we as healthcare practitioners have a lot of similar issues and similar challenges. And I know in the veterinary industry, we're the number 1 profession for committing suicide, right? And imposter syndrome and things like that, and trying to please and trying to make everybody happy, and is one of the things. But all doctors and practitioners really feel that. So, can you speak to that a little bit? Because I know we probably have quite a few healthcare practitioners that will be listening. And since this is your expertise in trying to, especially help those professionals overcome some of these issues that may have, been the reason why they became doctors, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, so I've been in the field almost 3 decades now, and I've probably been through every challenging circumstances in every area you could ever imagine. I've learned so much about how to have a balance in life, meaning that, life isn't just about your work. It's also about creating inspiring relationships and about having health and well-being. And so a lot of times what I've noticed in healthcare providers is or chiropractors I work with is they've created a life. They created a business, they created relationships, and they created a family, but they don't really have an idea of who they are and what they truly want. And so when they get clear on who they are, when they get clear on a bigger purpose for them being here, it transforms their mindset, and then you want to shift things. And now there's challenging that comes with that. So when you shift your mindset, all of a sudden it changes your whole life, which means you're going to probably create a little bit of chaos. You're going to create a little bit of challenges with other people or your business, because as you shift who you are, your world shifts as well. And I think that learning to navigate those shifts is where I love helping people navigate that transition from where they are to where they'd love to be, because it's not an easy jump. Because if you created a whole life around one identity and one mindset, and now you shift that, you're going to change everything. And so it's nice to have some strategic planning to move through that transition, so you can avoid the roller coaster up and down and have a nice flow through life. And you're not that you're not going to have any ebbs and flows and challenges, but you learn how to navigate those things effectively, because you're never going to stop having challenges. You're never going to stop having ebbs and flows, but can you learn how to navigate those successfully and keep driving toward your vision and not hitting roadblocks and then stopping your growth?
So is that something that you also have in your workshops and your retreats, is the strategy of how to maneuver your way through this life change or finding your purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've done that myself. I feel like I've reinvented myself many times over the years. And I've seen that it can be challenging. And as you shift who you are, sometimes you shift relationships in your life. People come and go, and that can be challenging for people. Right. Sometimes it shifts your health and well-being changes. I find that as people get more clear about who they are and what they want, they actually have more health and vitality. And so again, and I think that as you do this and you have more confidence and certainty and clarity in your life, right, then you also start attracting more opportunities to build your wealth or serve more people and grow your business even more to a whole different level, because now you're being congruent with yourself. Right. I think when we're living congruently to our values and we're living congruently to that purpose, the universe says, great, what do you want? Here you go. You can have anything.
They just dish it out.
Dish it out, because it's possible. There's nothing, it's not impossible. You just have to tap into that energy and make it happen. And I love helping clients do that and learn how to do that on their own. I don't want them to need me forever. I want to teach them to be self-sufficient on their own, and go through life. I mean, it's fun to watch.
Right. So how long does someone have to, because you speak to some therapists and they're like, oh yeah, my client, needs me. And I say, how long have you been seeing, been helping this client? They said 8 years or 10 years or 5 years. Is that an effective method? Or I'm trying to understand, life coaching versus therapy versus all of that. And I know you do a lot of coaching in your chiropractic offices and practice there. Can you kind of explain the differences between what you do and what therapy is? Because we are a life coaching site, not a therapy site.
That's a great question, and a lot of it depends on a few things. Number one is what are they coming to the table with? What's happened in their past? What kind of experiences have happened? What kind of baggage are you carrying from the past? And so once we get clear on that, because sometimes it's a whole load of stuff. Right. People they've never worked on anything, so that takes a little bit more work, right? But it's just about creating I love getting a foundation and creating a plan of action and having a systematic step-by-step. Let's clear stuff out and let's move forward. The beautiful thing about being able to work in the wellness field, and in the chiropractic clinics is, your body's physiology is designed to give you amazing feedbacks when you're not being congruent, when you're not living your values, you're not having inspiration and purpose for life. Your body tells you by giving you these beautiful feedback symptoms of pain or stiffness or discomfort or digestive problems or heart problems or blood sugar issues, cancer, those kind of things, as a beautiful feedback to help you wake up. Okay. And that's another one of those universal feedback mechanisms that's designed to help wake us up. Just like in your relationships, you may attract chaos and confusion and challenges in your relationships to help wake you up, or it could be in your business to wake you up, or your finances to wake you up. I've had them all. And so I understand what it looks like. So I understand the pitfalls that come with learning to shift your mindset, because you're going to create some chaos in your life. And so to have some tools to navigate through that, so you can still have a flow and still create that inspiration for life and create that inspiring business and build your wealth. I mean, everyone's so unique. So I look at them individually, and we put together a customized little plan, and let's do it. It may take 2 months, take 2 years. I mean, everybody's so unique.
Right. Yeah, because it's knocking off what's already been myelinated in your brain from childhood days, right? So you knock off each one individually, right?
Yeah, you got to change the old belief patterns and things that you thought for since you were born, and now you got to start changing that now. And then, so how old is the person? I'd love to catch them younger, because then it's easier to do that, But if you catch them at 50, you got 50 years of this thought pattern and this belief system that you're trying to shift. That's a little more challenging because you've got a lot more stuff to work through, right?
Wow. Do you go through each and every challenge in their life and have them go through it and knock that off and knock that off and knock that off?
I think what you find is there's key ones that happen, that, like the domino effect. You go back and find that key one that started the whole thing, and then you knock that out, and it just starts to transform the future. Because when you can learn a lesson about it from an early event, sometimes the later events, you're going to keep attracting that kind of same stuff again, because you haven't learned yet. So the universe is here's another form of it. Here's another form of it. So when you go back and learn the original message and lesson, the others I can see why I attracted that. Okay, that makes sense. This is why I have this same pattern over. So you bust that pattern out from the beginning. It's transformative to someone's life. With lots of challenges, because when you transform your life quickly, things shift, and you've got to be ready for that. I mean, it's not an easy road, but it's worth going through it, because you can go from living desperation life to an inspiration life. You just got to work through that.
Right. Can you give an example, without naming names and all of that, obviously, and being as broad as you want?
Yeah.
Of like what's something that someone has attracted back into their lives over and over and over again until they were able to learn, what were the benefits of that happening?
Yeah, I mean, there's countless ones. When I'm thinking about working in the clinic for years, is people coming in with the same health problems, or they've got some digestive issues or some heart problems, and it's recurring for years. And once we can get in there and tap into what's the cause of that, and what's the emotional block or the emotional charge that's creating the physiological change, then you shift that, then your physiology shifts, and people heal. Now, also, I work with people over the years who were having financial issues. I don't know if sometimes you go through your life and you seem to just run into just another problem, and this happened. I don't know if you work with people who just keep attracting the same stuff over and over again financially. I had a client that kept attracting something would always take the wealth, take the money, and never could build his wealth at all. And so it was back to self-worth, because your self-worth and your net worth, they go together. So if your self-worth is low, then you're not going to attract wealth. And so being able to go through and knock out all the reasons why you might be beating yourself up about your life, or having guilt and shame about things, and looking back and seeing the perfection of your past, clearing that out, transforms your physiology, transforms your mindset. And then when your self-worth goes up, now you start attracting more opportunities to serve, attracting more income, and attracting more health and well-being in your life. And it all goes together parallel.
So when you think of someone like Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, What's going on in their psyche that's allowing this to flow through? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that I've read their and watched their autobiographies, both those guys, and they both have such separate stories. They're just two so different people, but what they have in common is that mindset of and discipline they're clear about their vision, and they have a mindset, and they're committed to that vision. And I think that's the things that they both have in common is they're committed to serving, and they both have a clear vision of what they want in their life. They're both unique visions. They both have their own unique set of values, and they have their own unique set of priorities, but they're clear on what that is, and I think they're committed to making that happen. I think that's really the space you want to be in. That's why step 2 is so important. Is once you know yourself and once you're clear about what you want, commit to that. And just go for it, because you're gonna have support and challenge either way. And sometimes when we commit to something, we may not see the full detail of what it looks like yet, but you've got to trust that it's going to happen because you're committed to that vision. And that's, I think there's a beautiful quote I'd love to share with you.
Yes.
From William Murray, and this is the first one in my book, actually, because I think it changed my life when I learned it years ago. And I think it's perfect for what we're talking about. It's about commitment. So let me run through this and just kind of listen to this. It's really cool. It says, until one is committed, there's hesitancy, a chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elemental truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. Here it is. The moment one definitely commits oneself, providence moves too. All sorts of things occur that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from that decision, raising into one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents, meetings, and material assistance, which no man or woman could ever have dreamed would have come his or her way. So whatever it is you want to do, or dream you can do, begin it now. Boldness has genius, power, and magic.
Did you just memorize that?
I've memorized it many years ago, because I thought when I read that and I understood the value of commitment, and I understood that until you have commitment to whatever it is you want in your life, whether it's your relationships in life, whether it's your business in life, whether it's your finances, or whether it's your health and well-being, if you don't have commitment to that, then there's hesitancy. You draw back. And the thing I love about that quote is he says that you can't begin to see what's going to happen to help you fulfill that mission until you make the commitment. It's like turning on the light switch. You're going to turn it on or not. When you're committed to do it, you flip the switch. If you're not committed, you don't flip the switch. So it's making that commitment. That's why key 2 is so crucial, is making that commitment. Once you're clear about who you are, what you want, is making commitment and going for it.
Wow, that's fabulous. We're going to have to write that down so I can include that maybe when I post this, and we'll have to somewhere put that in your bio or something. That's
beautiful quote. I love it. I've shared it with clients over the years, and they all seem to think it shifts their mindset, keeps them focused, and it's a beautiful quote. I think everyone needs to hear it and read it.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay, so key number 3.
Key number 3 is about loving yourself now, okay? Self-love, I like to call self-love, I say it's the portal to fulfillment. And so when you know yourself and clear about who you are, and you're committed to that vision, then it's about honoring yourself and loving yourself now, and just living that, and just being who you are. And there's a beautiful quote, which is number 2 actually in my book, and this was told to me by Marjorie Miller, who has been a beautiful friend. You know Marjorie.
I know Marjorie, yes.
Years ago, she's been a consultant of mine and a mentor of mine for years, and taught me a lot over the years about life and commitment and stuff. So, and about loving myself. And so I love sharing this, and I use this one quite a lot. And so I want to share with you. It's got 3 parts to it. So the key to loving yourself, number 1, is about gratitude. Okay. And it's about gratitude for what is as it is. Because if you look around your life, and you're not loving what you've created, loving where you are, okay, then you're going to beat yourself up about it and think, oh, I've screwed up. I should have a different life here. This should be different here. This isn't supposed to be happening. So and that's where you're living in the shoulds and ought tos and the have tos. So when you're not truly having gratitude for what is as it is, then it's very difficult to have the mindset and to be able to manifest what you want. So I think the first step, and I do this with my clients as well, is let's look at your life and let's appreciate where you are today. Because if you're trying to run from your life to think somewhere else is going to be better, then you're mistaken. You're in the perfect space right now, no matter where you are in your relationships, your financial situation, your career, your health. You're in the perfect space to grow from and springboard from. And so when you can learn to love where you are, is the first step in loving yourself. Make sense? Second is having appreciation, which is appreciating all the individuals, all the elements in the universe that help bring forth what you're grateful for. So you look at around and say, oh, I'm appreciating this person for being in my life, and this teacher that's been in my life, and this person who showed up, and this event that happened in my life, and this experience that I created. It's having an appreciation for all the things that have happened to you throughout your life that have got you to this point that you're grateful for. Does that make sense?
Right, right.
If you're grateful for where you are in your life, then you can't wish something was different in the past because it changes where you are today, right?
Right.
It's about learning to appreciate all those things that have happened in your life.
Right.
Beautiful. Very transformative for people when you can do that.
I'll go on to the third one. And
the third one is about so gratitude for what is, appreciation, and now it's about self-discipline. Now the self-discipline piece, which is a challenging one, is to start paying attention to what goes in your mind, to what goes out your mind, what goes in your ears, and what goes out your mouth. So pay attention to what you're thinking about, pay attention to what you're saying, what you're listening to, pay attention to your actions now to see if you're living congruently to who you really want to be in your life. And I think that's an important piece is you got to step back and just pay attention and look at yourself and ask yourself quality questions. Am I living congruently? Am I speaking my truth? Do I love my life right now? Is there any areas what I'm feeling challenged in and I feel like was different? And that's a really important piece is self-reflect and to look back and see what's going on in your life. And I think we sometimes get so busy in life, we don't take the time to self-reflect and ask ourselves, how are we feeling? How am I doing? How's my body feeling? How's my mind? What am I listening to? Who am I hanging out with? Do I feel congruent in this life?
Right. Yeah, because a lot of people, when you ask them if you could change anything in your life, that's happened, over the years, what would you change? And they come up with an answer, or, if you have any regrets, what would that be? That kind of thing. And I'm, when someone asks me that question, I always look back and I'm like, no, that wouldn't change a thing. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you get someone from, they say, oh, well, I would have not taken this job, or I would have not married this person, or I would have not moved to this state or this country. How do you help someone overcome those I should have? Well, I know we talked about the shoulds, but they have the regrets in life.
Yeah.
So how do you get them to shift that?
Well, it goes back to asking quality questions about life, because if someone looks at their life and sees that, oh, I wish this was different, then they're only seeing one side of the equation.
Right.
Because when you can truly see both sides of an equation of every event, which has both sides, positive, negative, and you're only seeing the one side, then of course you're going to think it's no good and you wish it would change. But when you go back and ask the quality questions about, well, how did this actually serve me? What did I learn and grow? How did I learn and grow from that? What would be the drawback if that actually did not happen in my life? And you start knocking these questions out and answering these questions and getting clarity about the whole big picture.
Right.
There's nothing to shift at that point.
Yeah.
So that's what it's about. It's about asking those quality questions about life. And I know when I learned to ask these quality questions in my 30s, before that, I would look back and go, gosh, yeah, I had a severe car accident when I was 17, almost died. Gosh, what a terrible event. I wish that hadn't happened. But when I learned to look at quality questions and go, wow, if I hadn't had that accident, I wouldn't have gone to this chiropractor. I wouldn't have got fixed. I wouldn't have changed from being an accountant, believe it or not, was my first. I would have been horrible at that. That was my first profession, sitting in front of a computer all day. And you know me, I like to be out. Anyway, I would have probably done that. Would have been horrible. But I went to the chiro. Then I went to the chiropractor and learned about the mind body. And then from then I started studying some work from other masters about mind body. And then now I'm into doing more teaching about the mind body connection and learning how to shift your mindset and learning how to manifest what you want in your life. So thank God for that accident. I would be in trouble as an accountant. I would be terrible at it.
Wow. Well, I want to get back to the mind body stuff, but you mentioned Marjorie Miller, so I have to give her credit for something she taught me. And actually, we should contact her and try to get her to be one of the OnPoint mentors, because she'd be fabulous. I was it must have been like 7 years ago or something like that, when I was in one of those shifts of careers, right?
Right.
Trying to think about what I wanted to do, and was kind of frozen, which is why I asked that question early on. And she gave me permission to be in that space. And she said, Celia, you are in a fertile void.
You're right.
Right. And I remember those words, fertile void. And she goes, allow yourself to be in that void where things are created, and your imagination goes wild, and you allow yourself to sit there and see everything that's possible, because you're in this void, but it's fertile.
Exactly.
So she gave me the permission. I'm like, oh, that's great. Of which, this is where the OnPoint Mentors concept was really born way back then, because it allowed me to sit and say, what's really important to me. Yeah. And so I had to give that credit to Marjorie as well. But going back to the mind-body connection, because a lot of people are looking for solutions and how to connect the two and how to improve their health. And so I think that is such a hot topic right now. What types of courses? I know you do the retreats and things, but anything specifically on understanding specific disease processes and how they affect what's going on in their lives? Yeah,
one of the tools I've used over the years is I've learned more about what the physiological symptoms really mean in the body. And it's one of the areas of life. I like to work in their health area and the relationship area and the career and finance area. And it's one of the pieces of the puzzle that affects everyone is health and wellness. And so no matter if you're an entrepreneur or business owner in relationship, the health piece is an important piece of the puzzle. And so if you can learn to look at the physiology and decipher what the symptoms are actually meaning for you, because I think they're different for everyone. Your heart problem might be coming from a different emotional situation than someone else's, and so learning how to decipher what that is, and then learning how to learn whatever lesson it is your body's physiology is trying to teach you, because that's what it is. It's all feedback, and if you can learn the lessons of that feedback, then there's no longer needed, and your body heals and you dissolve those symptoms, and you actually improve your health. And so I think that's one of the keys is I like to teach clients as well, is how to connect back to your body. I've been through, I'm a yoga certified instructor as well. So I do a lot of mind body breath work. Right. And I think breath work is something that I use a lot in my own self and with our clients. So we try to teach them how to center back to your breath, because man, you get out here in your mind and you get in your life. Sometimes we forget. And so one of the quickest ways to get recentered for people to reconnect back to who you are is through your breath and calming that mind, getting back into the heart, connect these two together, center yourself. Then you can think clearly. Then you can look at things objectively and not judge them so much, because you're not in your emotional mind, you're in your heart. And when you're in your heart and you see the balance of both sides, you dissolve emotional charges. Emotional charges are in your mind because you have misperceptions. When you're in your heart, there's a balance. So the breath is a very important piece of the puzzle to get you back to center, so you can think clearly and make decisions more clearly. Think about if you're not clear about who you are and what you want, that's not the greatest time to make major decisions in your life. Right. Let's get clear, because I've done that before. I'm like, oh, when the hell did I do that? And so, I'm sure. And so get clear about who you are and what you want. And when you're in this fertile void, that's the greatest time to get clarity. I think it's such a great thing you brought up with being able to sit in that fertile void and just allow yourself to be in that space of being and not doing. Because when you're in that being state, that's when you can really tap in to who you really are, what you really want for your life. Because it doesn't matter what's going on here. What's going on inside of you? Let's get clear on that, and then let's create from there. That's the space that you get the best creation, and why not align your life with who you are?
Right. Will you teach a course, modules, mastermind, anything on breath work, especially breath work for entrepreneurs, breath work for busy professionals out there? Because I think that is a missing piece that we don't always stop, because we're constantly going. And to help recenter, whether it's somebody trying to run us off the road on the in the freeway, to an employee or anything. Can you teach just some of the simple breathwork techniques? I know that it's a whole science behind breathwork, and the chemical things that happen within your body. But
I think that one of the drawbacks I see as busy entrepreneurs and business owners is taking that time. Because I used to think that, I don't have time to do that because I got to go do a class. It takes 30 minutes. All you need is 2 seconds to take a deep breath and center yourself. It doesn't take long. So what I think is important to do throughout your day is find that space, and it could be in your car at a traffic light, or it could be getting your car before you drive off, or you're at your office, or you just shut the door for a minute and you just sit quietly. Okay. I like to close my eyes and then take that nice deep inhale into your nose, full breath, and then equalize that exhale. And you equalize the inhales, hold, equalize the exhales, which gets you back into balance again. And it literally takes 2 to 5 seconds, and you can get yourself from here back into here really quickly. So I like to teach that technique to as many people as possible that are busy professionals. We have a hard time doing that kind of thing because it's something you have to actually schedule it sometimes. You have to actually stop and do it. And I have people that set timers and force themselves to do it because it's just not something we do automatically sometimes. We haven't learned that. It's a learned thing. And once you learn it and it becomes a part of your life, and you do it for 30 days, all of a sudden you're going to be doing it automatically. So you got to stick with that.
Right. Especially for like public speakers, you hear that some of them might even pop a pill before they're going on stage because they need to feel calm and centered, but breath work. And I know Roger Love, who is one of the world leading voice coaches, was talking about breath work, but he was talking about something, you inhale for a few seconds and exhale for longer. Can you describe, like, when you're trying to center yourself, is it like 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, 4 seconds out, or is there a few seconds in the beginning, few longer in the end? Or
what I find works, and there's tons of techniques out there, and they're all great, I'm sure, but you find the one that works for you. The one that I've noticed that works for me and my clients is equalizing. So whether it's 4 breaths, and maybe when you're starting out, it may only be 3 or 4 breaths because it's a muscles. You got to exercise these things. So it's not a forced breath. It's an inhale, relaxed inhale breath, full as you can. Count in your mind. Maybe it's 4 seconds. Hold, and then breathe out for 4. The breathing out's a lot easier than in sometimes because when we get anxious and stressed, we tend to breathe up here, shallow breathing, right. Short inhales, longer exhales. It's about equalizing those things. And I find that when I equalize my breath, it equalizes my mind and it connects my heart. And so for me, equalizing those works. And there's other techniques for other outcomes that you can get that you can learn. But again, this one is a simple one that people can do anytime throughout the day. And it just gets you back to that centered space where we need to be able to think more clearly. As an entrepreneur, we need to be thinking clearly. The worst time to make choices is when you're in an emotional state. I mean, it's very expensive to do that. I've done it over the years. You're in an emotional state and you react and you make a decision, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, there's cost me 10 grand, whatever. So it's like, it's wise to get centered and clear, get clear, and then think and make choices. And it's like when you're clear about who you are and you're clear about your purpose, choices are easier to make because you have something to gauge it toward. Does this decision help me get to where I want to go in life? If it does, then I'm going to pursue it. If not, it's an easy no. But if you're not clear, then it's hard. You get caught up in decisions. You got all this stuff. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And that's so stressful when you're on the fence. I don't like being on the fence. I like to be this side or that side. So when you're clear on who you are and what you want,
Right.
get off the fence a lot quicker and just move forward. And you're going to attract support and challenge either way. So just move in the direction.
Right. And then if you want to change, you can change.
You can change. You can do whatever you want. It's up to you. But get centered. Make your decisions based around who you are and what you want in your life, and just go for that. And you'll notice that some people will support it and some people won't support it. But they're not, either way, you're going to have that. So you might as well choose to go down the path that feels congruent to you, and let everyone else decide how they want to fit, and just go follow your inspiration. And then if you decide, now something changes, you come back into that void and you get clear and you ask those quality questions and you tweak it. You might tweak it a little bit. You can do whatever you want. We're in charge of our lives. We can do whatever we want.
Some people have said that you are like their support system for taking action, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I feel that way because I think it's I've been in that space where I've been stuck and I don't know what to do, and I have anxiety and I have fears and I have things I'm not. I was always, I got to know exactly what's going to happen before I go, but that's not the case. You can't do that. You've got to trust that if you follow your heart and you're living congruently, whatever you attract into your life from there is perfect. Whether it's support, whether it's challenge, you're going to learn from it and you're going to grow. So I'd much rather attract challenges from me being authentic and living who I am than attract challenges of me being someone I'm not.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you ever go forward and think, okay, so if I go this way, I'm going to attract challenges, but let's clear those challenges and see, okay, so if I go this direction, what would be a good thing that comes out of that? What would be a benefit that comes out? Do you ever do that or encourage?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, what happens is they think, if I go this way, it's going to be a lot easier. I'm not going to attract much challenges, and then you get surprised by that, don't you? So the key is, when you are moving toward a direction, it's wise to look at both sides. What are the possible challenges I'm going to attract by going this direction? And let's go ahead and plan ways to counteract those and get around those because they're coming. And then it makes it a lot easier to navigate those when you're already kind of anticipating that. You can already plan for that. I'd much rather be in control of the challenges I'm attracting than have some kind of crazy circumstance to come in I'm not expecting, which we all have at times. So you're not going to run from challenges. So you might as well choose the challenges you're willing to face instead of attracting ones that you don't know is coming. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And if you embrace the challenges that are coming, then you don't have to attract a bunch of stuff to give you challenge. You already have it over here.
A friend of mine was in an elevator with a very prominent businessman in New York. And he was telling me the story that, he was kind of eavesdropping. And this businessman had, I don't know, maybe, half a dozen of his underlings under him, managers and vice presidents and whatever. And he basically was listening. And this CEO was basically saying, okay, if this happens, what should we do? And then you're in charge of that, and we'll go down there. If this happens, we'll take care of this. If this happens, so there was plan A, B, C, D, E, F, all having a solution to tackling those challenges if they should arise, right?
Beautiful. It's just a wise way to move forward in your business, in your relationships, in your finances, in your health, and look at those things that might happen, okay, and then go ahead and plan to how you're going to solve those when they show up.
Right.
I find when I'm already solving the problems before they show up, they don't even show up. It was just here in my mind.
Yeah, Dave, you when I was introducing you one of the things I said was explorer. Yeah. So, I can see why now. You're such an explorer of the mind, explorer of the body. But what is your definition of exploration when you define yourself as an explorer?
Yeah, I feel like all my life I've been a curious person. I know when I was a little kid in elementary school, my teacher would get so frustrated with me because I would always ask him, I'm always raising my hand going, why? Why is that? And eventually they go, just because I said so. And I always hated that answer because that doesn't work for me because I said so. I like to know. I like to explore answers and explore things. So, and that kind of spills over into my personal life. I love going exploring the world, and I think we live in an amazing planet, and I think there's so much beauty that's out there, and I think it's here for us to go see and learn from. And I love sharing experiences with people and exploring new mindsets and exploring new opportunities and new experiences with people. And I just seem to I'm always attracted to that. So I think I'll be doing that for forever, because it's a part of what keeps me feeling vitality and feeling young and healthy, and being able to do that, because that's a high value for me, is to explore life and explore who I am as a person, and explore other people. And so that's what that means to me, is being able to explore who you are, why you're here, and go live an inspired life, whatever that is for you.
Right.
Everyone's so unique. So find out what's inspiring to you and go explore living that as your authentic self.
Right. No, I read someplace that true purpose, this is from you, where you discover your unique statement of inspiration to guide your choices and direction. I don't know if I read that on your website or if I read it on your bio, but I loved that. Discover your unique statement of inspiration to guide your choices and direction. It's a little bit different from purpose, right? Yeah. It's your true purpose, is how you described it.
Exactly. So, and I think if you have something, one of my processes I take people through is called a rich life formula, which helps them get more clear about who they are and what they want. So when you have that in a written form, and you can tap into that, and you can read it on a daily basis, or you can have it memorized, or when you have opportunities or decisions to make, and you go back and read that, and it just helps you get more clear about directions to go and what you want for your life. Because we're all here to do something extraordinary. We all here have a purpose and a mission for life, and we all have our own set of values and priorities. So it's about being able to live that as your authentic being, and loving your life and exploring life as that. Because I think life is an exploration of who are you. I mean, we're always changing and evolving. And it's one thing about working with entrepreneurs is we're not stagnant folks. We're moving and growing. And if you're moving and growing, you're going to continue to track challenges and unknown circumstances and opportunities to grow. And that's the part of the growth process. And so to learn how to run into those roadblocks or obstacles and how to navigate through those, learn the lessons, and continue to move forward, I think is something I love helping people do, because I think it's important, because we're all growing and learning. You're not just sitting around doing nothing. We're growing people. I know you for a few years, and you're always evolving and learning and growing. And I'm the same way. So I think people that we like to work with are the same way, learning and growing. And you've seen the challenges, and where would you be without anybody helping you? I mean, people need mentors. We need help. We need consultants. We need advice. We need people who've been there and they can help share us how to get through it. That's what I love doing.
What I love about you and your what you and Tanya have both built up over the years is that a lot of people have these programs of finding purpose and clarity, but it's mainly just talk, and it's not practical. And a deep dive into asking really specific questions, right? Mm-hmm. And I think, as scary as it is for a lot of people to try to answer those scary questions, it's important. And a lot of the questions, they don't even know what to ask. So I love that, in your workshops and your retreats that you describe, it's really a working session of finding out who you are by asking those quality questions that you were saying. Now, with COVID and everything, and I know you do live retreats, or you did pre-COVID, are you still doing them virtually? Would you be open to maybe, having some of those workshops for some of our OnPoint Mentor students and clients?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've still been having people come. We have a beautiful place, 24 acres in North Texas. It's a retreat. We have people come and they stay for a day or 2 or 3 days, and we'll have intensive retreats for individuals, couples, or small groups. And we've still been doing that, but we have done more online stuff as well. So absolutely, we want to continue to have more people have more access to information. Right. And so I love the fact that OnPoint is here to help serve people, and it's a good point for people to come and get help they need. So it's a wonderful platform, and I appreciate being a part of it.
Oh, no, we appreciate having you as a part of it, honestly, because it's something I've listened to a lot of professionals, again, being a veterinarian, and prior to that, I was in real estate development. in the islands of Hawaii, I find that a lot of professionals, again, don't have time, or there's a stigma between trying to find help, or it gets too, when they say life coaching, they think it's airy-fairy, or they don't think it's really practical because, as scientists, we need if this, then that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that a lot of your teachings and your workshops incorporate a lot of more practical and logical steps into finding out who you are, which is the foundation of everything. So, this is why, we wanted to create OnPoint Mentors, so that we could all feel safe and comfortable and understand, and you could choose whoever mentor you want, but, just knowing that there's, people out there who have been there, who are just like us, right? To help us get through those difficult moments. So Dave, I think, go on.
I was just saying, even and right now with what's happening in the world, it's even more important that we have a place where people can access and get help either online or sometimes I find that it's great to get out of your environment, come to another space, and let's get let's go for a walk and let's go hug a tree or something. Let's get clear, let's breathe some air and get out of your world for a few minutes. And sometimes that's one of the best healing things about people coming here is they get to do that, and you can gain some real clarity when you get out of your environment and really step into a different space for a while.
Right. Do you find professionals open up easily when they're in a room with each other, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you create that safe space for people just to be themselves and speak their truth, it's amazing how people open up when you're feeling safe and that you can do that. I mean, it's a wonderful way to dive deep and really work on some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to be able to find a way to do that globally and virtually, because that's the way the world is. But I'd love for people outside of, the United States to be able to have access to seeing some of your teachings and getting some of your wisdom. So Dave, I thank you so much for joining me today. It was it was exactly what I needed.
Yeah, I always love talking to you. I always have great conversations, whether we're recording them or just talking as friends. So I appreciate you asking. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, well, you'll definitely have to come back, and I'm going to talk to you about building some of these programs, because I think people out there, especially now, are going to be needing to hear some of those questions that you ask.
Yeah, I feel it's foundational, and I like to build that foundation so people can build off of. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Dave. I appreciate it, and we'll see you at the next interview.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.